And we all know that Jimmy Kimmel has continuously humiliated Trump, mercilessly attacking him for every foolish thing he does. However, a while ago, Trump had enough and started crying like a baby, claiming Jimmy Kimmel hates him and more. While there's truth to this to some extent, it hasn't affected Kimmel at all.
I won the election.
To this day,
but when
he
they
continues
said
to roast Trump for every silly statement and questionable act. But before we dive into recent roastings, let's rewind to an Oscar night a few years back where Kimmel publicly mocked Trump's post on Truth Social.
Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again.
This final jab from Kimmel targeting Trump for the lawsuits he faces deeply wounded him. Trump had no choice but to vent online to his mega fans.
See if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth Social. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
Was feared to break. Obviously, Kimmel wasn't going to stay silent. He responded on his late night show, making it clear he wasn't intimidated or bothered by what Trump thinks of him. Instead, here's how he hit back.
By the way, Truth Social is doing great. I never expected he was going to be reading it just prior to the movie of the year, which is the big one, right? That's the big one. I think they get the man, the woman, now the movie of the year. He reads my truth on air. He reads exactly what you read. And now the big story is that they all begged him not to do it, don't do it. Right. He probably stupidly, he had to act in a short period of time.
So, Sonner, Kimmel's strong stance was backed by a witty comment that went viral nationwide, where he embarrassed Trump about his potential jail time. This particular joke resonated so well that it even became merchandise. Watch this clip where Kimmel discusses Americans' reactions to his joke at the Oscars.
Oscar Sunday, there are now dozens of past your jail time shirts for sale. There are mugs. There are tank tops. There's an Isn't It Past Your Jail Time backpack. People are writing it outside the Trump Hotel. There are billboards. There are billboards in Pennsylvania.
It's no secret the ongoing rivalry and controversial words between Trump and Jimmy Kimmel have been ongoing for years. Last year, it seemed Trump took Kimmel's jabs personally. He asked his lawyers to write to Disney, ABC's parent company, demanding they stop Kimmel from making jokes. But as a comedian, and a good one, Kimmel knew he'd gotten under Trump's skin and wasn't backing down. Here's how he responded to Trump's indirect threat.
What a plot twist. The first time Donald Trump ever tries to stop someone from talking about him on television, and it's me. Usually when he wants somebody to stop talking about him, he pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was specifically that sparked this, his Trump.
Kimmel pointed out that if Trump can make insensitive jokes, why can't he make jokes backed by facts?
And this guy, Donald Trump, all he does is make fun of, he makes fun of disabled journalists, he calls our veterans prisoners of war, even losers. He insults his opponents, his friends, his family. But if I point out that he's so fat they renamed the plane Air Force Wonder Bread, I'm the...
Satwag, Trump's attempt bore no fruit, and Disney's response wasn't made public. Clearly nobody cared about Trump's insecurities or tantrums when criticized. Jimmy Kimmel continued to thrash and ridicule him. For instance, recently Kimmel talked about Trump's hush money trial, which concluded on May 20th, 2024. Here's what he said.
I heard there's a big trial going on in New York. Our former president and future convicted felon who, after saying who knows how many times he would absolutely testify, has opted not to testify, and the defense has rested their case. I will tell you, though, one thing I'm going to miss as this trial wraps up is watching Trump's lawyer, this guy Todd Blanche, silently glowering as Trump stands outside the courtroom whining every day.
I hear he hits me all the time, so I figured I'd take him because I thought
He is...
Where he's at, as you heard, Trump keeps calling the
After
courts
I lost the election,
courts.
I won the election.
Kimmel tore into him with this
with
odd statement on his live show.
System, and it's just
They call it all kangaroos.
They do? Who does? Who calls it all kangaroos? The legal community? The zoo community? Or just you?
Immediately after, Kimmel showed a clip of Trump saying that Mundis and Michigan that while the trial ended, he won't rest.
Resting pretty quickly. Resting meaning resting the case. I won't be resting. I don't rest. I like to rest sometimes, but I don't get to rest.
By the way, this is the same guy who was caught napping in court multiple times. Claiming he won't rest is just ridiculous, and Jimmy Kimmel agrees. Let's see his reaction to this.
That's what he did. The guy who doesn't rest, as soon as he got into court, he nodded off at least once this afternoon.
Trump's efforts to silence Jimmy Kimmel failed miserably. Kimmel didn't just stop roasting Trump. He continued by criticizing Trump's boast about massive crowds supporting him during the trial, which Kimmel knew was a blatant lie.
Outside, we can't get... It's not a very big thing for us. We don't really care that much.
Right. If there's one thing we know about Donald Trump, is that he couldn't care less about crowd size.
People want to get out there, and you have all police. The only people that are let out there is the radical left lunatics. And they put our people 4 or 5 blocks away. There are a lot of them.
Kimmel even witnessed the so-called massive crowd outside the courthouse and exposed Trump as a liar.
Yeah, no, there aren't. There aren't. I drove by there last week. I was in New York. There's no one there. You have no supporters in your hometown. There's one crazy lady outside his apartment building screaming at ghosts. That's all you got. The only supporters Trump has in New York is the army of ass-kissers who fly in from Washington every day to suckle his teeth.
Mate, having no supporters show up is bad enough, but lying about massive crowds is worse. Trump seems immune to humiliation and doesn't care about what he says. However, calling his supporters ass-kissers might be more fitting. Here's a clip of a Texas congressman going above and beyond to praise Trump.
Week sitting in a courtroom when he should be out reaching the American people and telling the American people what he would like to do for this country. And who shows up? Tens of thousands of people show up at Donald Trump's rallies. The Democrats hate it. There's not another person on the planet that can do that other than the Pope.
That's right.
The ridiculousness of these Republicans and blind mega fanboys continues to shock us. Trump gathers crowds larger than the Pope. Jimmy Kimmel was astounded and reminded some people who could easily gather larger crowds than Trump's rallies of lies.
Not Beyonce, not Taylor Swift, just Trump and the...
Moving on to another episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, which aired on May 21st, 2024, where he completely demolished Trump. Trump had been whining that the court wouldn't let him attend his son Barron's high school graduation. Despite the complaints, Trump was allowed to attend. And here's how Kimmel reacted.
The ceremony, Trump posted this. He wrote, "Going to Barron's high school graduation. Great student, wonderful boy, very exciting, DJT." What a beautiful fatherly post. Isn't that so personal? It's like what you would say to your schnauzer after a graduated obedience school.
Trump even announced on Truth Social, using formal words, that he was attending the graduation, for which Kimmel roasted him.
Graduates, but since he didn't, we took the liberty of cobbling together some of his more inspirational moments to make this speech for his son's graduating class.
Let me begin by saying to each member of the graduating class, congratulations.
You can do things that stupid people can't do.
As we pursue this bright future, we must hold accountable the nation which unleashed this plague onto the world, China.
What kind of father posts this on his son's high school graduation? Let's not discuss Trump's parenting qualities. At the private event, Trump didn't give a speech, but Kimmel wasn't happy. He made a compilation of Trump's absurd comments to create his own graduation speech.
Never, ever call Chris Christie a fat pig, ever.
I'm with you 100%. I wish you a lot of luck.
Work hard, do the best you can, and remember what I said. No drugs, no alcohol. Have a good life. The American dream is dead.
This included mentioning China, but that wasn't even the most memorable part.
Want to debate this guy, but you know, and I'm gonna demand a drug test too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite.
Hey, what's shocking is that Trump actually said these things on different occasions.
It's baffling how educated individuals could vote for him. This brings us to another foolish act by Trump during a speech in St. Paul, Minnesota. On May 18th, 2024, where he discussed upcoming debates with President Joe Biden.
Sleepy Joe, he can barely put two sentences together, but he's also firing on all cylinders when he's on cocaine. What is this? What are they going to test him for? Sarsaparilla? I mean, really. And are we to believe that taking drugs makes one a better debater? I don't know if any of you have any experience with drugs. Well, from what I've gathered, that is not usually the case. Listen, the only drug Joe Biden is on starts with meta and ends with mucil.
Did he add rules after agreeing to debate terms? It's hard to understand Trump's thought process. Jimmy Kimmel again loaded up and mocked Trump for suggesting Biden might debate better on drugs. It's true that if Trump gets convicted in any of the ongoing 34 cases against him, he could end up behind bars before the debates start. However, since there's no timeline for rulings yet, we can't rule out Trump's presence at the debates. Despite Trump's complaints and official grievances, he hasn't gotten into Kimmel's head. Kimmel keeps entertaining us by regularly roasting Trump. As Trump's hush money trial concludes, we await the verdict to decide his fate before the November 5th, 2024 elections. Regardless, many already know the logical choice isn't Trump. Still, MAGA fans may vote for him, believing he could win. Do you think Trump will avoid conviction, or will he find himself in a jail cell? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for our next video. Thanks for watching.